Welcome to another how-to video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I made this adorable worksheet using Google Drawings. So the first thing you want to do, of course, is go to your Google Drive. This is my working Google Drive, so lots of different things going on there. You're going to click on New, go to More, and you want to go to Google Drawings. And this is where you will find your blank page of Google Drawings. So as I said in the last video, the first thing you want to do is make sure your page is the correct size. So for creating a worksheet, we're going to make this in an A4 size. But remember, it's all about the pixel size. So to find the page setup, I'm just going to go on the Help, Search, Setup, Page Setup, and here I'm going to go to Custom. I'm going to click on the centimeters and change that to pixels. So like I said before, you want to be aiming for higher than 1,000, but the best way to do that is to Google it. So I would Google pixel size for A4 page. Or I can use a previous page that I've made and I can just double check that. So yeah, either Google it or just copy what I'm doing here. So it's 2480 by 3508. And that is going to give me the perfect aspect ratio for an A4 size page, so that when you print it, it's all going to be in the right place. So the next thing I just did, I right clicked, I went to background and I made it white. So I always start with just a white background. If I want to change that at a later stage, I can, but because we're making a worksheet today, we actually do want to keep it white. Now, this worksheet is going to be a colours worksheet. So this could be for kids learning English, or it could be for children at school who are just starting to write. So I want my title first of all, so I'm going to click Word Art C, and you can actually write a whole word separately, but I kind of like this effect of having the word not all like perfectly straight. So yeah, let's make sure I actually know how to write the word colours. And this is going to be the British spelling because I am British. So there we go. I'm writing it all separately, which is a bit more time consuming instead of me just writing out the whole word. But here I can play around with the style. I just think it gives it a more playful feel. So I'm just moving around the letters like that, as you can see, clicking on each one and clicking on that little circle to move them. Now I want to make sure they're centered on the page. I'm just going to move across until I see that red line, and I've got it. I want to make these letters very thick, so this is my outline. Here is the thickness of that outline. I'm going to go down to 24 pixels, like that. Now, I want to make this very colourful because obviously this is a worksheet about colours. I also want to change the font, so I'm going to click here, Arial. Now, my favourite font is the Girl Next Door. If you don't have that font, you can just click onto more fonts, like I showed in the previous video, and you can just search for that font or have a look through and see. But yeah, I really like that one. It's a bit of a handwriting, fun, playful font. And now I want to be changing my colours. I don't have any custom colours, and I always work with custom colours, but the first thing I'm going to do is change the fill and the outline of each one, and then I'm going to show you how I edit my colours till I find that perfect colour. So we are going in the order of the rainbow here, which is just as it is on the pre-described colours that we've got here. Yes, do we want a turquoise? Okay, yes we do. And we want blue and purple. Well, that's pink. No, we want purple. Okay, so that is my title. However, this is quite pastel-y colours and they're not quite the colours that I'm after. So I'm going to change these colours now, and this is worth putting the time in because these are going to be the colours that I use throughout the page, throughout the worksheet. So now we're going back through to each colour, and I'm just going custom, and I'm already on that colour that I want, but I can just play around with the hue. So we're going a bit brighter, cute and bright. So I'm just moving it along like that. Okay, so green I always struggle with because look, that goes like luminescent if I do what I did with the other ones. So I kind of have to keep this lower. It's hard to find the perfect green. Turquoise as well can be a bit tricky. But anyway, for the purpose of this, I'm not going to spend hours choosing my colours, which I can definitely do. And this is basically me choosing my colour palette. And I'm just doing it whilst I'm making my title, so it's actually faster. Sometimes I will make a whole colour palette and put the squares on the side so I've got my colours, but this is here. So it's in the title, And now when I click on colors, they're all going to be saved there, so long as I'm working on this document. So those are the colors that I will be using throughout this video. Now, for my worksheet, I am going to have different exercises going on. And for my exercises, I'm going to use little circles for the exercise numbers. So, like I said in my last video, just get something on the page that you can work with and then something you can edit. So keep editing. Now I've just put a 1 in that circle. I've just double clicked and I've typed in a 1, number 1. And I need to make that a lot bigger because you can't see it. So I think I'll go for about 80 fonts. So I've just clicked on that, clicked on the font. And we also want to change the font. And because this is a number, I'm going with Spartan here and I'm going extra black thick. I also want to center this. So just like you would in Word or in Google Docs, just editing that like that. And I want to change the color to white. I want to change the outline to extra thick. So I want to change the font color to white, which is there. And I want to change the color of my circle to, let's go with the red, so we'll keep it in the order of the rainbow. So that's my number 1. And that will be the same for my number 2 and my number 3. So I can already copy those now and then just change that color. So that's going to be orange. But let's just focus on our first exercise for now. This first exercise is going to be a colour in the pencils exercise. So I want a word art and I want my instruction. So that's going to be colour in the pencils. Simple instruction, I'm going to put that here. I'm going to make that half the size, so matching up with those squares there. I'm going to get rid of the outline. I'm going to change the font to the girl next door. And I think this needs to probably be black. So fill that colour black. There we go. Got my first instruction, cute font. I love it. And so what I mean by pencils is I'm actually going to create now a pencil. So this is a fun little drawing task. So I've gone into insert shape and I've chosen this rectangle with the slightly curved corners, which means that I can choose how curved I want them. They could be like that. So that's the first part of my pencil. The second bit of the pencil is going to be that pointy bit at the end. And for this, I need to do some free shape. So I'm going to just zoom in a little bit so it's all a bit clearer. And this is, something that I've drawn many times before, so I kind of have an idea of how I want it. So you click, you move along, and I'm going to do, I think, 3 kind of like the spikes going down, and they don't have to be perfectly even. That's not really what it's about. You want it to look sort of almost hand-drawn, so not quite perfect. So there we go, I've got that. I'm going to move that down so it touches nicely on my corners there. The next thing I need is the end of the pencil, so I'm going to do that free form again, so clicking there. I'll show you again. So click there, click there, click down here, and to end it, I need to double click. Okay, oh, now it's given me that, that's fine, just click on that and it will get rid of it. There we go, there's my nice pointy pencil. And that is all I want for now. And now I can just sort of play around with that size, move it around a little bit. Okay, so for this is a colouring in exercise. So I actually want to keep this white. And I want to make the thickness about 4 pixel, maybe 8. But I'm actually going to make it smaller, so I think we'll keep it at 4. So now to make it smaller, the pencil needs to be a lot smaller like that. There we go, I've got my cute pencil. It actually needs to be smaller because we're going to be fitting in quite a lot of pencils here because we're colouring in all of them. Okay, so the next thing is just copying a load of pencils, changing their direction. You want them to be sort of flat because I am actually going to write some words in them in a minute. So we can also maybe change the direction so they're not all pointing one way. So I'm just Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste. That's how I'm doing that. So it's great. You can draw one thing once and copy and paste it as many times as you want. Nice and easy. So that's my exercise 1. Obviously, I need to write on there the colours, okay, because this is a task that you're reading the colour and you're writing it in there. So let's say they need to understand the word yellow. I'm going to put that there and I need to just turn it around so it matches like that, get it nice and central. Then I'm going to copy and paste that yellow. I'm going to put it in another shape. yellow, let's do blue, red. So I just keep copy and pasting it. We can do green. So obviously I think, yeah, this exercise is quite clear. You read the word and you just colour the shape, colour the pencil. So let's do orange. And I've got just 2 more to do. What haven't we done? Purple. And turquoise, I suppose. Let's do turquoise. Turquoise. There we go. So that is exercise 1 done. And then of course, you know, I can move it all around a little bit, make them smaller, make them more flat. So as I always say, you get it on the page and then you edit it. So my first exercise is just going through the top like that. What's happened here? Oh, I've accidentally added something there. So there we go. So that is exercise 1. Now, I also would like to add in some decorations. I'm going to copy a pencil here. And this pencil, I'm going to colour it and I'm going to make it all yellow, apart from that bit there that needs to be this kind of beigey colour. Okay, so I'm just making it clear that, you know, this is a colouring exercise. So I'm putting that there. Then I'm going to get my line, my curved line, and I'm just going to do like a little pencil line like that. I'm also going to make that yellow. I'm going to make it thicker and maybe a slightly dotted pattern like that. So there we go. It's kind of clear that this is a colouring exercise, so you need to colour. I can also dot around. I mean, this is the type of thing that I would probably do, you know, afterwards, but I just show you as I go along. There we go. So let's go to exercise 2. This is going to be write the colour exercise. So we're using a table here. So I'm going to insert table and like that. I'm going to change the size of my table. I want to change the lines. I really like this line dotted line 4 size, and we're going to make that black. So you'll see what I mean in a minute by the exercise. So here, copying the instruction from the previous one, bringing it down here, and changing the instruction to write the colour. So basically these boxes here, you have to write the colour in that box. And I'm going to be using various shapes for this exercise just to make it pretty. I mean, we're not really studying shapes here. And I could actually just use the same shape. But if I show you, so in this exercise, that in the sheet that I've actually finished, there's different shapes here. But yeah, so you could insert different shapes. The idea is that they've got their different colours. So there we go. That's the red. Copy and paste that shape. Just, I don't know, because it's quicker. And there. So I could actually just keep circles here. I think that's also nice. And like, as I said, it's not a shapes exercise. So, you know, it doesn't have to be shapes. That was just a design choice. I thought it looked quite cute, but actually, let's just go with circles because that also looks very cute. Now I'm going to copy and paste that whole thing because we've got more colours here that we're going to add, and I'm just going to line that up next to it. So we were changing colours, so we're on, no, we're not on that, we're on turquoise, turquoise, and we're on blue, purple, and the last one, I think I will just make my own pink for that one. So yeah, I mean, not every colour needs to be in every single exercise. It's kind of up to you, really. I could add another pencil up there for my pink if I wanted to, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Now here, the idea is that I was having another exercise next to this one, if you saw on the other page. So I'm actually going to move this across like that, and I'm going to bring these in a little bit closer. So this is an A4 page, so you know, if you imagine the space that they would have to write, it should be enough there. So I'm just moving all of that a little bit closer together so that next here I can actually make another exercise. There we go. So this exercise is going to be a colour in the squares. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. Colour the squares. So need to remember to change that to a 3 and also change the color to yellow. So this exercise, I also need a table. So I'm going to go insert table, and I need to just go 10 across for this and none down. So I want basically 10 squares in a row like this. So you'll see what I mean with this exercise. I also want to change that to the same style as my previous. So it was 4 pixels, it was the nice dotted lines. Now this exercise, we're combining numbers and colors. So we're coloring in the amount of squares that, depending on the instruction. So for this, I'm going to copy my wording here, and I'm going to write 4 orange. So you basically need to understand the number and the color, and you're going to color in 4 squares in the color orange. Now I'm going to copy and paste this. Yeah, it's tricky sometimes dragging down a table, so just take it on the word. So I'm going to copy and paste this 4 times, I think. Or maybe just 3. You know, I kind of want it to fit in nicely, and then I can move that down a little bit so it's not too crowded. So let's do here 6 blue. Just line that back up again, and we can do 9 red. There we go. Bringing that down. So that's exercise 3. You see how simple it is to make something like that. Very simple. So now we're going into exercise 4. This is another tricky one. So I'm actually, to show you this, I'm going to show you on this page. Here's one I made earlier. This is a color by numbers exercise, and this is a brilliant one, really. So I'm just going to break down what I've done here. I just zoomed in a bit too much there. Okay, so coloring by numbers. I have got a square here that I've inserted from shapes, square. I've got a line, actually no, yeah, I mean it could just be a line, so I'm going to make a straight line there, and I'm going to move it down. So this is just me working on the background. Then the house is super simple, it's just another shape here. I'd say that, you know, a house is one of the easiest things to make on here, it's just a combination of shapes. Here, this shape here, 5th one in, is going to be my roof, like that. You know, obviously you can edit that as you're going along. I might just make my house come down a little bit more. Then windows, I could just copy and paste my house, make it smaller, and I have a window. There we go. Make sure it's all nice and lined up. The door is another type of shape, so come in here. It's going to be this one at the top. So you can choose how curved you want that. Bring it down, put it here. Make that smaller so it fits. So for my window, just need to move that up a bit. I need to put my lines on the window, so to do that I can do it like that. Now you see that my lines aren't completely central on the other picture, so I can just move that up wherever I want it. And then I can actually just copy and paste that whole thing and put it into the other windows, or I can just create the lines one by one, doesn't really matter. So there we go, there's my house. I want to have my sun. So for this I'm going to go to callouts, and here it gives you different options. So I think this I'll go for a 10. I can choose like how spiky I want it, and then I'm going to insert the circle of the sun like that, and we want to just format that. So paint format, click on the circle, paint format, click on the circle, and then I'm going to show you how I create the tree. So again, it's just all shapes. So for this, the trunk, I'm using this shape that comes out wider at the bottom. And as well for the branches, they're just smaller variations of this. I'm just going to move this one, that back one forward so that you can't see those branches, bring to front. And so this, I want to format all of them so that they're just white like that. And then we're going to add on our foliage. So to do that, I'm inserting a shape, and I'm going right to the end here. We've got this sort of cloud shape, which is good enough for a tree. So we're going to have, actually we'll start with the back ones. Might need to make this tree a little smaller, it's coming out a bit. So I've just copy and pasted that. I'll put that on that side, and then we want our big one here in front of everything. And there we have our tree, but obviously it needs a bit of editing. Now these trunks, I'm going to move them down a little bit. They don't need to be that high. And I want to make the whole tree a bit smaller as well. So let's just format the color. So paint format, paint format. There we go. And so I've just highlighted everything and I'm just making that a bit smaller. So there's my tree. And normally I would spend a bit more time just editing all of this. I've just kind of rushed this. I would never just create something and leave it as it is. But for the purpose of the video and not taking too long, I'm just going to leave it like this. But yeah, obviously I would tweak that so it looks a little bit more like this. Then, so it's a paint by numbers, color by numbers here. So this is obviously just font that I've inserted. Now to get the numbers inserted, I've just insert text box. And then you click. So let's start with the number 1. I want to edit that font. I want a nice clear font for my numbers. So I'm going to do Spartan and I'm going to make that bigger. So probably about 40, obviously just play around. Let's just bring that in. And let's put my 1 on the trunk where I want it there. There we go. So then I would just repeat that, copy and paste, change the number, put it on each individual area. And then, so that leaves us our final exercise, which is this xylophone. So we've also got another exercise here. This is just a piece of text with this box here. So just a square that I've inserted. So last little thing, I will just show you very quickly how I made the xylophone, because this might look complicated, but it's actually very easy to draw and it's just made up of shapes, as always. So I'm going to show you, we're going to make it not at an angle. So I'm going to take that shape with the curved edges, I'm going to make them even more curved. And I'm going to bring that up here and make that smaller. Then I'm going to copy and paste that again. I need the same amount of lines. I need to put these at a bit of an angle. So I'm going to need to bring that up a bit like that. This can obviously be smaller. Now to copy and paste, I'm going to copy and paste this one to create the one on the other side. And I'm going to right click, rotate, flip horizontally, and then that's going to give me the exact same angle rather than me trying to figure that out. And so there, I'm going to make that smaller. Now for this is just going to be the brown bit in the back. So I'm going to make it thick. I'm going to fill it with brown, like that. And just perhaps move it in a bit. And then we're using these shapes here, which is the same shape as the roof actually. And just one by one, I'm going to be gradually making each one slightly smaller than the other, like that, just by pulling it in so it's in line with the top part of the shape. And here you see the xylophone starting to develop, and this is, you know, something that I use on my flashcards as well. And if you color it in, it looks really pretty, like a kind of rainbow. And I always feel, you know, it looks kind of complicated to make, but it's actually not. Okay, so here, now that I've got that in, I can angle that bit a little bit better. So as you see here, it wasn't quite working. So I need to delete that one, copy and paste this one again, flip it horizontally, move it across to the edge there, and then send it to the back. So there is my xylophone created. This actually we just need to move in ever so slightly, like that. This we just move in. So yeah, you don't need to get your measurements perfect from the start because you can tweak it like that. And then I can put it at an angle. And if I just show you, so here I've basically just copied in words like I did with the pencils exercise, but I could just show you, you know, I'm going to color it in now so you can see how nice it looks. So this is, you know, how to make your own xylophone in Google Drawings, a little bonus for you. So changing each color. What do we have next? Green. Let's go straight to blue. And then we can do a nice purple. there we go. So that is the very, very cute xylophone coloured in, and super simple, super easy to make, just made up of simple shapes that you can find in Google Drawings. So this is the final copy of that worksheet. Now obviously I started creating it here just to show you guys the step by step, but I'm not going to continue and create every single exercise because I think you've got the gist and I've shown you here how to make the rest. So I think it would be a good idea for you guys to practice making that exact worksheet, so trying to copy it exactly and then making your own tweaks. But from there you've got the skills now to be able to make your own worksheets on different topics. And remember, it's just all about different shapes. So if you want to draw something, you need to see the shapes in it and reproduce it with those shapes. So something like a house is really just made up of rectangles. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching this video on how to make your own worksheet. I'll be back very soon with another how-to video. Thank you.